So Howard, you're known within the gospel world for your keys work. You're also known in the pop world with people like Westlife. You're known for your big sing core stuff. Hey. And you're also known as a songwriter. But of course, you weren't just born with all of this, although you were maybe born into it. How did your journey begin?
Well, that's the right term. I was born into it. So basically, I'm coming from a Pentecostal Church background, which is church full of music and exuberant music as well. So my parents were West Indian. So basically, they brought the reggae over, the ska, and then we were hearing all sorts of gospel stuff coming from America. So the combination of it all was mind-blowing for us. So I was brought up on that, and also I heard my cousins play keyboards, and I used to look at them and think, man, I want to do that. So basically, that's how it kind of got into me. That's how it got into me.
So that's how you caught the bug and the vibe, and you became addicted.
Yeah.
But how did you start learning? Was it all by ear? Was it picking it up?
It's all by ear, I have to admit. I used to wait till my dad used to go out and I used to pinch his beatbox, big systems, right? And play back tapes. We had tapes in those days. And I used to listen to a guy called Robbie Vincent. I put so much on Robbie Vincent because he gave me my musical awareness away from what my parents were listening to at the time, which was Jim Reeves and people like Boone. I know some of you guys don't know who those people are, but look them up. They were quite famous in their time. So I was now exposed to not just gospel, but jazz funk. And I used to listen to the chord movements, and I didn't have a keyboard at the time. So I just used to listen. And what I would do, I'd wait till I get to church, and there was a piano at the back of the church. So I'd go in there, and my first ever thing I played was that in F sharp. That's the first thing I remember playing, and I played it just immediately after hearing it. So from then I started to listen. I'd listened to a lot of music in my bedroom with Robbie Vincent, and so I learned a lot from that, plus the gospel side, and I just started to pick it up. Eventually my dad bought me a piano because he saw I was really interested, and eventually he opened the door and let me into the living room, because those days they didn't let you into the living room. Those that you understand would understand what I'm saying. The door was locked and the piano was on the other side, and I was trying to get in, but eventually he let me in, and I started to just do songs, just play what I heard. That's how I started.
So, in terms of practicing in those early days, because obviously you weren't able to play like you can now. How's that journey of progression? How did you develop your skill? Was it putting records on and trying to play along at the same time? Was it slowly working things out until you found it sounded right, or?
Yeah, both really. So I would put on a tape. It was always tapes, right? Because we never had those kind of records in our household. All right. So I would put on stuff and just try and play along to it. All right, and listen. And some of it I didn't get, to be honest. So I made it up. As I went along. So there's certain chords I didn't know, but I did what was close to it, what was very close to what I heard, and it worked. So as I went along, I developed my ear to listen to stuff.
And did your ear start with melody? And
always
bass,
melody.
Or
always
chords?
Melody. I'm a melody person, and in the course you'll see that how I play is very melodic. Because when I was used to be in my living room with that piano that my dad bought me, I used to make up my own songs, my own little tunes, as it were. So it was always from a songwriting point of view. I wasn't really trying to be a keyboard player, to be honest. It was more about, it was a tool for me to write with, should I say. So that's how that developed, really.
And where did your bigger breaks come from then?
When I joined the London Community Gospel Choir in the early 80s, but I joined as a singer. I didn't join as a musician. I was very shy back then, so I just was keeping a background. Eventually they heard that I could play, and I wrote a few songs. So that's where it really started. And I started playing with them, and I wrote most of their songs as well. And eventually, as you play now, you don't know who's in the crowd. So there's people in the crowd listen to what I was playing. And what would happen, they would put me forward for other gigs. So after LCGC, I went to Gloria Gaynor. That's because someone heard me play. And I got on that, and I was doing that for a good little while. And then from that, someone else heard me playing, and then my name started to get around. And eventually I went to Terence Trent Derby, and then it just went to the pop world, Westlife, Will Young. It just started to fire off, and I was doing that for a very long time. That's how I really crafted myself.
So what do you think was the highlight of your musical journey thus far? Because there could be more highlights.
Oh yeah. I would say, there's two. Playing for the Queen twice. Once with the LCGC, London Community Gospel Choir, Basil Mead, and then one with Will Young. It was just myself, Will, and a 64-piece orchestra behind me. And I was playing piano. That was nerve-wracking. And then there was a gospel guy called Andre Crouch, who I used to listen to a lot as well. And he came over and did something for, I think it was Songs of Praise, something like that. And I had the privilege of playing for him. That was mind-blowing for me, yeah.
So tell me now more about your Big Sing work.
Big Sing. Right, I never thought I'd be doing this, to be honest. I thought I'd be a musician, touring, writing my songs and stuff. But then I met my wife, my beautiful Gemma, and we wanted to put something back into the community. So 12 years ago, we put some leaflets out. We just wanted to give back to the community. So we put some leaflets through some doors and said, we're going to start a little choir for 6 weeks. It was only meant to be for 6 weeks. And if you want to come along and sing, let's do it. And so we hired a church hall. We waited in the church hall to see who would turn up. And 45 people came. 45 people came for that first session. So we taught them a few songs, and we actually performed at an event in the place that we lived. And after that, we were going to call it a day. All right. But the choir members didn't want us to finish. They said, you can't finish it. So we continued it, and then we started in adjacent areas, Malden, because we started in Witham, then we started in Malden, Rayleigh, then it just built up to now we have about 600 choir members that we're running with staff. We have staff as well. It's got so big. Yeah, that's been amazing. Big Sing has been amazing, absolutely.
That's brilliant. So what about advice to other people? So other people who maybe want to take a pop or a gospel route in their keys world, what would your top tips be? My top tips: practice. Be diligent in what you're doing, because there's always people listening. So when you do your first thing, do not just play this is what I've learned. Don't just play what you feel needs to be played on the song. Play the song. Play the song. You'd be surprised people in the audience are listening, and those that you think are not influential are influential and will hear you play and say, I could put you forward to X, Y, Z. So I would say be diligent in what you're doing. There is space out there for everybody. All right. It is a tough industry. All right. And it is down to potluck sometimes. I've been very fortunate in my career. But that's because I've been diligent, and I try and do the best I can do all the time. Whether it's for a small gig or a big gig, it doesn't matter. My approach is the same. I practice, I learn the songs, I learn the arrangements, I learn the character of the song. Very important. That's why I said don't just play chords that you think will fit in. It might not be the right character for the song. So always be diligent in what you do. That's what I would say. Thank you so much.
No problem.